was hit by its own EF5.
It's still 2 years later. I don't think about it every day, but I think about it a lot.
Michelle Lowrie lives in Broken Arrow, but on May 22nd, 2011, she was in Joplin teaching a class at State Beauty Supply Store. After class, she stopped at a Kohl's store to do some shopping.
They said the tornado sirens are going off across town. We need everybody to come into customer service.
But then they gave the all clear.
I kind of meandered around the store a little bit longer, looked outside. It still wasn't raining, but it was getting a little darker. So I thought, well, I'm only a mile and a half away from the hotel. I'll go ahead and head that direction.
The second she got inside her car, it started pouring, and the sky was pitch black. She pulled onto Rangeline Road.
It was a parking lot on Rangeline Road, just of how cars, it was like people trying to get home. I could actually see smoke or something like swirling in front of your headlights, and that's what made me pull over.
She pulled into a mattress store parking lot. 2 other cars pulled in. It was so dark and raining so hard she couldn't see a thing.
I tried to open up my car door, and as soon as I opened up my door, one of my windows blew. I do remember, hunkering down, holding on, making sure that I had my purse tucked up under me and my cell phone in the other hand, and just laying over the console in the car.
People have compared a tornado to a freight train, but Michelle says this was like a roller coaster.
So you would go up and then you would drop. The way that your stomach sinks and drops, and that jerking of side-to-side motion is the only way I know how to describe it.
And when it stopped,
that's whenever it set in like, oh my gosh, I was just in a tornado.
She says the whole thing lasted about 5 minutes. And when she sat up,
my front windshield was cracked and like caving in. There was a fountain of water just pouring in on me and inside the car because it was still raining. I heard a woman screaming for help, and so then I was trying to talk to her, like, we'll get help, I'm here too.
She climbed out of the driver's side window and made her way into the street where dozens of other people were climbing out of mangled cars and buildings.
Just wandering. The only way I can describe it is we all looked like zombies, because you didn't know what to do. You didn't know where to go.
She eventually got a ride back to her hotel. It took her husband more than 4 hours to get from Broken Arrow to Joplin, but he eventually made it to her late that night. The next morning, they tried to drive the 1.5 miles from the hotel back to what was left of her Jeep.
We kept driving around, and the traffic was crazy. It was bumper to bumper everywhere you went. We pulled over, and I'm hyperventilating, and met some wonderful nurses that were there taking care of anybody who needed help from the storm the night before.
Physically, Michelle was virtually untouched. She had a small cut above her ear and was scratched up from broken glass and insulation. She didn't have a single broken bone, but the tornado did leave emotional scars.
You think about little things. The lady that was in the blue car next to me, I do think about her often, all the deaths that occurred in those cars, and just thinking, what if I would have stayed going straight? All these people wandering around and I was okay. I should have done something else at that moment.
Michelle Lynn, Fox 23 News.
Still so incredible. Well,